All right, you guys should be able to hear me. And in a second here, you should be able to see me. Good. Okay. You might note I'm wearing a collared shirt today. That's very rare for me, right? I didn't realize I had the top button buttoned. But I am just off of teaching a college class, so now I'm hanging out a little bit. And how's it going, Control Byte? Yeah, so we're nothing super formal tonight. I just thought what I'd do was pop up and talk a little bit about what's going on in the ProLUG, maybe let you guys know about the group if you don't know about it. I imagine most people that hopped on right away know about it, but if anybody comes on in the next hour or so and says, well, what the heck's a ProLUG? Well, maybe we can show them and maybe they'll find something useful. So what we're a group of people who want to teach other people how to do Linux, and we want to get you guys doing it professionally, right? All of us are hobbyists. All of us at least play in the Linux realm, but we are trying to get you guys into doing it. Yeah, what's a ProLUG, right? It's the part about the story that's pretentious before you actually get into reading the story. That's what a ProLUG is. But what a ProLUG is a professional Linux users group. And we try to get you guys into doing this stuff professionally, trying to kind of guide you around all those pitfalls and stuff that we ran into over the years. And I try to tell people, like, us seniors in the group, our job is to like make it easier for the people after us, right? Like, it's not easy to get into tech, especially now when like there's all this uncertainty and everybody thinks AI is going to take their jobs and stuff. And it's like, well, I think there's still some stuff out there that's still human based. Like, humans are always going to be touching it. I think humans are always going to pull the trigger on system admin tasks. Yeah, sure, there's some failover and some things that we can probably automate in the edges. And honestly, that stuff's been getting automated for a long time. There's that custo query language. There's all kinds of stuff that we've automated. I mean, I heard of Stoneth almost 20 years ago. Stoneth has been around forever. We could Stoneth machines and kill them off. That's shoot the other node in the head, right? And before it was shoot the other node in the head is actually the nicer version of that. The other one was Stomith. Stomith, and that was shoot the other motherfucker in the head. That's what the original thing was. I mean, that's a little bit of history if you don't know. We used to do that all the way at the circuit layer. We used to actually blow circuits into systems back in the day, back before we had like a heartbeat and an IPMI on a system that we could power down nicely. We could actually blow the circuits and pop the cable, right? That's very rare, but we could do it back in the day to keep split brain off our systems. So that's old stuff. That's like early 2000s and stuff. But anyway, so let's talk about what's going on in the group. We've got a Bash study group standing every Saturday, right? And that one's pretty popular. I'd say they probably have about 20, 30 people in there most times. And Kolkis kind of runs that for you and talks about like all levels of scripting, all levels. And here's the thing. I tell people, like, you don't have to be some expert in Bash. I consider myself far from some deep level expert on what's going on, and you know, I know how to export variables and do all that kind of stuff, but like besides like some of those things, I do not know all of like the bitwise operators and that kind of stuff. But what I do know is Bash is how I understand and interact with Linux. So I have to know it that well. I have to know it at that level. Same thing I tell you guys with like networking. I don't have to be like the deepest like expert in everything that's going on and on up and down an OSI stack, but I do need to understand how my system interacts with a network, because show me a Linux system that's not on a network somewhere. There's like hardly any of them. There's always Bash run amucker. I agree with that. Sending and Fisherman, glad you guys are here. We're not working too hard. I'm in a collared shirt because I just left my college. I actually was driving home and looking at all the dust and stuff coming in from the south. And one of my students had to drive about an hour south down to Maricopa, which is just south of Phoenix. And he's driving right into that dust storm. So there's like a bad thunder and dust storm coming up from the south right now in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Anyway, so Bash study group's coming up. That's at 10 a.m. my time, but if you go in Discord, it'll be your time, right? And then there's a late night Bash study group, which I unofficially run, double air quotes, unofficially run. And if I can be there, I will. But otherwise, that's just kind of a study group for you guys. If we want to walk through things, we can. If we want to talk about stuff, we can. Yeah, Bash, Bash is a very interesting language because there's so much you can do with Bash. The only time, like, guys, honestly, like, the only time I put Bash away in a Linux context is when I'm interacting with multiple systems, because Bash doesn't have the scaffolding to support the things I want to do natively. Like, oh, guys, I started out my career just running for loops against servers, and then wherever they'd break, I would just pull that list out like as it flowed by. Sure. But then we got into, these tools that came around in the early 2000 teens where like you've got these, you've got scaffolding around what's happening and all this error handling and, oh, that user's or that system's broken, move it over here and then do something else with it. We can do blocks and rescues and all this stuff inside of Ansible and kind of like keep connected to a server if we can. But if something breaks, we can do stuff with it. And we have like a lot more control. So that's when I tend to move away from Bash. But anyways, my point is the Bash study group is there to be everything from simple discussion to stuff that's, again, way deeper than even I know, right? And again, some people really dive in and like they love to go deep on these languages and stuff like that. And that's a very valid way to do it, right? You'll find me, I'm one of these guys. I'm very big fan of Tim Towdy. If you guys don't know who Tim Towdy is, it's Timtowdi. It's an old Perl concept. There is more than one way to do it, right? There's more than one way to do it. And the way we're doing system administration for the most part here. Some systems engineering, but systems administration mostly for the new guys. In systems engineering, there are better ways to do it as we get to bigger and bigger scale, right? As we go to 10,000 machines, yeah, like there's a better way to do certain things. And I can show you an example of that if you want. But here's an example of it real quick. In our server, in fact, go to Ansible code, right? Go up a little bit. We had this discussion in the last year. Yeah, there's not too much going on in Ansible code, so I know this isn't too far back. But it was a question I asked. Maybe it was about a year and a half ago now. Question I asked where it was like, why would you want to do it this way or this way? Now, there are objectively wrong ways to do things, especially at scale. And there's better ways to do things depending on where we're at. Where's my question at? I know it wasn't too far back here. Patching. So it had to do with installing something. Installing something in the way that you input the list. That's not too far up. Hold on. I know I'm not far from it. Where's my question at? A bunch of people responded to it with, it's actually kind of funny. A bunch of people used AI to answer it, which was kind of funny. And it's fine. I said they could do whatever they wanted. Swappy. I think that was one of the. There's one of the responses. Those are the responses. So I asked this question. This was a question, and some of you guys answered it, and some of you guys hid your answers too, just so people wouldn't be spoiled. But it was this right here. Is this a better way to do it, or is calling this package module over and over again in a loop the right way to do it? And does it really matter at only 2 packages, or does it matter if there's like 37 packages? And then why, right? And could you explain why? And then there's a bunch of answers there. But anyways, the correct answer was this is the more correct way to do it, because you only instantiate the package module. You only have to like unpack and start your work one time with the package module here. This one is going to keep looping over and reinstantiating it over and over again. And actually this one can catch weird package locks depending on the type of system you're in, whether you're in apt in this case or you're in yum DNF in the other case. But anyways, that's not really what we're talking about today. We're just hanging out right now. We're not working too. I just got done teaching a college class too, so I'm kind of coming down from talking a whole bunch and standing there. We do our lab maintenance on Sunday nights, and the reason we do lab maintenance on Sunday nights is I try to run that like we would in a real operational company when there's less people on the system. We're currently in a state where there's not really too many people using the servers right now. We're actually updating our monitoring and our tracking of things so that when the course starts, we can kind of keep track of how many people are using it. All that kind of stuff. Leith over on the YouTube side, how's it going? Then this is a fun one. For people that don't know, we've had 2 versions of the Linux sysadmin course run, and we've had 1 version of the systems engineering course run. We've had probably about 15 people finish the Linux admin course, and I think we had 5 or 6 people pass the security engineering course. We'll finish. Everybody passes if they finish. But some people didn't get to present in this recent course, and some people might want to practice their presentation again. So on September 13th, anybody that wants to see what these guys have created, which some of their stuff is really good. It's as good as anything I do professionally. Some of these guys put together really good projects, and maybe they want to come and present it and talk through it and get ready for kind of, you know, if they have to talk to it in an interview or something like that. Maybe they have, hey, I passed this course and I've done this thing. Can I do whatever? Yeah, we used to use, Will Dreadhound, we used to use with items, with underscore items, but we stopped using that. I actually have some of my old Ansible code that uses with underscore items. Now it's all loop. They prefer you use loop nowadays if you can. And then there's the writer's room. If you guys don't know, if you want to get involved and you want to get your name on like the contributors list for the books that we've published and people are still maintaining, and the new books that are coming out, they're free, right? We've got these free books over here that anybody can use. In fact, I'll give you guys the links to them right here. Right, here's the Linux admin course for free. I don't charge anything for it, but the guys have their names in the back of that book because they went through and they wrote it, right? The guys publish these through GitHub. They use a little like GitHub Actions thing, and they publish these books for you guys to use, right? So all that to say, there's ways to get involved with the group that doesn't just involve hanging out with me or talking with me. You know, I've always wanted the group to be self-sustaining. I never really wanted it to be the Scott Show. Like I already have enough people that have to listen to me in both the professional world and in the college professor world, right? I have people that have to listen to me. I want people to hang out because they want to, right? Putting the baby down to sleep. All right, good. Yeah, my son could only ever fall asleep over my shoulder. I had to like hold him like this, and then it was always like use my grappling arms to like get him down into bed without like his head falling or anything like that, because if anything moved, he'd wake up and I'd have to go back to pacing with him. That was the only way to get my son to go to sleep when I was younger, when he was a baby. Even probably all the way up until almost 10, I'd have to walk around with him like this over my shoulder, and then I'd like this to like muscle him down and like not let his head move or whatever. And it got harder and harder the bigger he got, but that was just, he always had a hard time going to sleep, so I'd walk around with him, put him, maybe not 10, maybe like 8. I don't know. I just remember him getting tall and heavy at some point. Maybe 10's a little big. Anyways, and then we're restarting the security engineering course. The people that did that course really enjoyed it. We do STIGs, we do all kinds of security related things, and I try to not make you a drone that just does the security things. I try to make you a drone that understands why you're a drone. No, I want you to like understand why the thing is the way it is, and like if you have to put your foot down and go, man, we simply can't do HTTPS on our repos because like we have too many, maybe the certificate management is too complex for the project. We just need to stand this up. It's an air-gapped environment. We have another preventative. What we call in that case would be like a preventative corrective control or a preventative compensating control of being air-gapped. We really just need to get this project done, and hopefully the security takes it. And maybe you have to give a little better reason than that, but my point is you understand what you're doing. You're not just doing it. One of the worst things, man, I'm telling you, people talk about like, would somebody just dig a hole and then fill it back in at the end of the day and then come back for double the money? And people won't do that. Like, they've proven that people will stop doing that if they just find their work meaningless. One of the worst things I've ever seen happen to people, and some of you will not believe me until you get in the industry, one of the worst things I've ever seen happen to people is they just become like a checkbox monkey for like a security team. You literally just go around and like, all right, show me this, check. Show me that, check. And they fucking hate their lives because they don't get to do anything technical. They're literally they're a compliance monkey, right? GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, can absolutely just, in sports we call it getting bodied, right? Getting slammed up against the wall, getting dropped on your head, right? It's called getting bodied, right? Like just getting owned, as we sometimes call it. It's terrible. So, hey, Trevor, how's it going over on the YouTube side? Adaverk, how's it going? I'm just talking about stuff that's going on in the group, and I don't know, hanging out for a little bit before the wife gets home. I did just teach college. Let me see. Sorry. Hold on, I got to be explicit with what I'm typing. 1 second. Oh. Okay, sorry. Getting body. Yeah, Robodom. How's it going, man? Hopefully this stuff's useful. I know everybody's busy. I've been super busy. I got work. Shoot, I still got work to do. We had somebody on my project. He was only 55. He passed away this weekend. He got like a little sick at the end of last week. Took a couple days off. Saturday he passed. It's wild. Yeah, Robodom. Getting bodied is still terrible, even if you get paid, right? But anyways, security engineering course coming up, and then we're doing a new course. This is a new one. We're writing the book for it. We're working on it now, and that's a 16-week automation course. And I've been contemplating this a lot, and I think what we're going to do with this course is we're going to do a thing that is it's a college cop out, right? I'm copping out. No, I'm just kidding. Does anybody here know what a survey course is? I'm not going to run it as a survey course, but I'm going to do it kind of as a survey course. And this is what a survey course is. In a survey course at college, it's almost like the students teach the course, but I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to do that in this. It's going to be similar to that, though, in that you're going to do this. We're going to have all the topics of each of the weeks, and I have them. If anybody wants to see the topics, I do have the Linux admin course. I do have, oh no, here's the automation course. Here's what the syllabus kind of looks like. Let's open that with Chrome. You know what? Well, I guess I can open it in dark mode, but it's fine. Yeah, hold on. Let me open it this way. We'll just open it with this tool. It'll be in dark mode then. Maybe this will be a little easier for people's eyes. Get out of here. So this is the ProLUG. This is like the Linux automation course, and this is kind of where I got to. I want to noodle around on it a little bit more. I'm not sure that I'm 100%. Like some things might move a little bit. There's how users get on the environment. This is actually funny because this is inverted colors. So this is actually dark. It's been flipped, and then these are also flipped colors too, which is kind of funny. But anyways, down here, this is kind of what we're gonna do in the course. For anybody that's kind of curious and thinking of coming, we're going to do automation tools, installation, and execution. Can you get just like a playbook to run, an Ansible task to run? Can you stand up and just run the simplest little Python script ever, right? We're just going to make sure that we have the tools there that we need, right? Then we're going to deal with those tools in interacting with our own operating system. We're going to pull the time out of it. We're going to look at the version of the kernel. We're going to do opening of files and closing of files and things that you can do and use all these different tools for, right? Maybe we'll even move some stuff around within the operating system, right? Then we're going to make and use inventories, because inventories are maybe one of the most important things in the systems world, right? Having good inventory. What happened? Yeah, I still flashbang every now and then to make sure people are awake. And then we'll do admin commands and one-offs. I didn't know how to spell that, so I just did one-offs. I think that's not even really a word. It's just a way that we say things. But admin commands and one-offs. We're going to just practice things and do a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to show you how to just build an environment from scratch with just individual commands. And we'll probably use some other one-off tools like Python at the command line, right? Perl at the command line, like things that are super useful for automation, but they're still just one-offs, right? Like I just need to fix this thing, or I just need to go use sed through a file. That's a form of automation that's still just a quick and dirty. We could have called these the quick and dirties, right? One-offs, quick and dirty stuff. Because you still want to know how to do that, because it's still very powerful. To be sitting in a meeting and not have to say, oh, I'll get a report on that, but just to be able to pull up the information like real quick at a terminal and share the screen, something that somebody's asking, there's some power to that. It actually looks good technically if you know how to do that. And fishermen not knowing how to spell my name. The belts weren't actually in the background. They were actually they were staffs that are representative, or staves that were representative of my different Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu belts. Yeah. They're not. Hold on a second. Hold on. Go to studio mode. Turn my camera off for a second. Hold on. Yeah, they don't sit behind me anymore. Hold on. A little known fact. You guys don't know this. Anybody that knows me knows this. I actually go to the Renaissance Festival every year. Every time it comes out to Phoenix, I go. Where are we at here? Oh, right here. So, this was my purple belt one when I was a purple belt. Only purple touched this body, right? And it fell one time and it cracked. You guys probably can't see that little dragon in there, but it fell and it cracked and I was very sad. So that's my purple belt staff. It has my initials in it, STC, right? Let that fall over there. And then when I got my brown belt, a little brown staff, right? This one's kind of cool because the top of it's... So this is what you guys actually used to see behind me. You never saw my belts behind me, actually, in the old place. So this is my... These are real walking staffs, or staves. And this is the bottom of it. Very nice, very... Boom. And then when I got my black belt, this one's all black with red, which is actually a professor thing. I wear a black belt with white, which is very uncommon in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world unless you're competing. And I used to compete, but I don't really compete anymore because I'm too lazy. Too fat and lazy. I just beat people up in the gym now. So, yeah, you shall not pass, 100%. They do Renaissance Festival out here from February until like early April every year. So you got to get there early because it gets way too hot. Like even in April out here, it can be in the hundreds. So it's brutal. Anyways, back to this. We're going to then do environment and local variables in a system, and we're going to talk about setting things persistent or getting things from other teams and using that to feed our automations. And we'll learn how to say, okay, I want to stand up this or I want to configure this, but I'm going to take these values in, and then I can write up in a README or in a wiki somewhere, hey, when you want to talk to Scott's team that does systems engineering for you, these are the configurable parameters, and if you just send me over, right, or you just pop it in a directory or just give it to me in a file, I can go and just run this, or we can even give them the ability to push the button and run it against their against those variables, and it will just deploy the system in the way that they need within the parameters. And you might say, well, don't you need to know all the variables? Well, sure, yeah. We got to cut off variables somewhere. We have to at some point say you can have a small, medium, or a large server. What's a small server? You can have 2 CPUs to 4 CPUs in it. You can pick them, 2 or 4. Boom, that's small. And sometimes we just say small is like 2, right? And this is what AWS does, right? There's definitions of these things, but you just pick the name of the server, the type, right? And this is the same kind of thing. And then we can feed things in, and then we can change the way that things build or whatever, right? Yeah, because I mean, even AWS doesn't allow you to say, I want this number of CPUs and this amount of RAM. There's like these tiers. There's a cutoff, right? Like a stepping tool almost. Then we're going to do some automation of Docker builds, and we'll probably do some, those will be Packer and Docker files building stuff and customizing things, right? And being able to always pull down the new version and rerun it and see that it works. We will also use tools like Packer in there because Packer is super useful for getting everything the same way. That one will also probably have like an optional lab where you can push something up into like an AMI in the cloud, because super easy to do, super easy to customize something and push it up and then have that as a pre-baked image in the cloud for yourself, right? Then we'll automate Docker environments. This will be like standing things up and pulling it down, and it'll be building on the individual components that we did here. Like in this, we'll have pulled them down, we'll have customized, and we'll have deployed them all as different pieces. And this will start to be like a pipeline. And then this will be furthering the pipeline out into like K8s and using tools to stand up Kubernetes environments and tear them down if we want to, or components, whatever, you know. Then we'll do some build and deploy Linux systems, because I just think that even though we've done that in other contexts and other systems, it can't hurt to keep learning that stuff. And then we'll harden Linux systems inside of that context. So this will be laying out all the things that are, this is not hardened, and then this will be hardened, because sometimes we have different levels of hardening. Sometimes we have different levels of compliance within our systems, and we can build our systems and affirm that they're going to be at a certain level. We can do SE Linux. Actually, in the home lab, we can do SE Linux. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can't do SE Linux out in Killer Coda because they're using what are they using? They're using Ubuntu, and you can put SE Linux on it, but you can't relabel it because you can't reload the system. So you can like turn it on, but it's not really doing anything, right? It doesn't have any labels to do anything. We'll work through that updating and patching systems. And what I was saying earlier about this being kind of like a survey course, it's not really a survey course, because in a survey course I would make my college students, or in this case you guys, go and just pick what you were going to study, and that would be the whole thing. It would be like if you ever took like Spanish 7, 8 in high school, they just made you go study on your own, right? My brother took Spanish 9, 10. I remember I took 7, 8, but my brother took 9, 10 because he was in honors Spanish the whole time. And they were just like, yeah, go just read and watch like Spanish movies and stuff. That's all he did. It's like, it was like that's what survey courses are, right? You pick the topic. I'm still going to pick the topics here, but you guys are going to have an overarching project that you're going to be doing the entirety of the course. So that'll be kind of that. We'll talk about configuring network devices. I am going to try to stand up in my environment, depending on time, right? Because this month is really packed for me. This month and next month are really packed for me. So I'm going to try to, if I can stand up an environment for you guys to get into, called it's not hard to stand up GNS3, but if I can stand up a GNS3 environment where I can get you guys into servers. And then we can use like Ansible off of those servers to configure the network devices on there. We'll do it. If I can't get that all set up by then that'll be overwhelmed by events. But we'll still work on configuring network device. I'll still show you how to do it, how to connect in and look up the CLI commands, or if you got like was it like F5s or something like that. If you need to take things and drain them out of a load balancer, stuff like that, I can show you guys those kind of code snippets. Then we're going to do reporting out, because remediation and reporting on drift is huge and very important. OBE, yeah. Were you around sending the other day when I was talking about OBE, overwhelmed by events? Just, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to do it. Because you've changed my priority too much, I'm just not going to do it. That's overwhelmed by events. Yeah, OBE. I love that. That's one of my favorite terms. And then we're going to do some troubleshooting testing for like where these things can break, and if we found anything that was kind of like weird proclivities that we wanted to talk about, we'll troubleshoot and test in these ones. Closed won't do. My favorite way to close a ticket back in the day was always Picnic, because everybody knows PEBCAC, right? You guys know what PEBCAC is, right? Problem exists between chair and keyboard. And everybody knows ID10T errors. You're not getting away with it. You do that, you're probably getting written up, because everybody knows those ones. But nobody ever knows Picnic. Do you guys know what a picnic is? The picnic problem? Problem in chair, not in computer. I always like that one. I always like that one. You get away with that one in a ticket, but you say PEBCAC, everybody knows what you're talking about. But picnic? People don't know what picnic is. Not typically. So picnic is resolved as no issue. Other teams love that. Yeah. Standing desks, no problems to be found. Yeah, picnics are good. All right, so this is the plan right now for the course. We're going to use the explore, practice, apply methodology. So exploring, we'll be talking about it, having some of our discussion posts. Our first discussion post will be more of like an explore, go read something, find something, do something. Practice will be all of the hands-on labs that we do and the write-ups and stuff, and maybe us going and finding definitions. That'll be practicing, right? Maybe even role-playing and talking through things. We don't have to do role-play. That gets kind of weird, right? And then applying the things down into actual, this will be like in our discussion posts and then in our final projects where we apply it to like a real-world context for you. By the way, guys, Sending Grounds has been streaming again, so you really should be following Sending Grounds if you're not. I didn't type that up, somebody else did, but one of the other mods got to him. But yeah, you guys should definitely be following Sending Grounds. He digs down into Bash, and he talks about a lot of the same type of stuff that I do. He's just more technical about it. Anyways, so these are the courses that are coming up. The questions that I always get asked about the course: how much do they cost? If you ask fishermen, they're going to cost you a lot. If you ask me, they don't cost anything. They do cost your time. You're going to pay in time because they're about 8 to 10 hours a week worth of work. But I mean, can't help that, man. It'd be like if you said, "Hey, Scott, I want to get big and go and get strong, and go to the gym," and I'm like, But is there anything you can't do? And you're like, well, I can't go to the gym though. I refuse to pick up weights. All right, well, I mean, we'll make you do some push-ups or something. That's about the best we can do with that. Push-ups and pull-ups, body weight stuff. But my point is, like, these are free for you. All you have to do is join the Discord and just say that you're interested in the event and then show up. You could technically do these courses without anybody. They're all free online. All my recordings are up there. The only thing you can't do is get the certificate, guys. There's a little certificate that comes out. It's pretty cool looking. If you want to see what the certificate kind of looks like, it's like this. It kind of looks... Oh, shoot. Hold on. Presentations. Oh, where's it at? I think it's under streaming stuff, images. I'll show you a different one, not the one that we actually release. These are the... This is one that we don't normally release, this one here. But that's what it tends to look like. And when you get your QR code comes back to our page, our ProLUG.org page. And Treasure over on the YouTube side is the guy who keeps track of that. And then so if you were to look at, where's ProLUG? It's right here. If you were to go to ProLUG and go to Verify, and you were to look for me, you would see that I am a valid holder. So you could put that on a resume if you wanted to. And you can you put that on a resume and somebody could go to that either. Well, you can do the whole QR, or you can just do that link and they click and it would say you finished the course. So, hey, I mean, you know, our stuff is only worth, you know, somebody caring about what we're talking about. Here's my automation course. You know, our stuff is, you know, really worth just the stuff you learn out of it. It's not going to really maybe sway everybody, but it's going to sway the people who care about you knowing what you're doing, I think. So, all right, enough of that. What else? Fisherman, Robodom, you guys are having some kind of butt battle over there. I don't know what that is. What happened here? Book? Oh yeah, that book. That's the book that you could pay for if you want, but nobody has to pay for that book if they don't want. There's a bunch of commands, that kind of stuff. Trevor said you're listening and cooking. Nice. Planning on chatting with you sometime in the near future about updating the search and site. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you over on the YouTube side, Trevor. I was going to ask you if you were doing all right and stuff, but I didn't want to just ask you just because I wanted that update. I was just curious because I know we had talked about it a few weeks ago, and I was like, shoot, did he update it again? But we do have to update the course. Next time I update it, maybe no rush, but maybe by Sunday, then I'll do the maintenance when I do the normal lab maintenance, and then if anybody's on and hangs out and wants to talk about our process of updating the web server, I can explain it. I do have it all drawn out, how we do our web server and all that kind of stuff, so... And Fisherman said, ask the YouTube side how it feels to be inferior. That's pretty funny. You're not supposed to say it. You're supposed to just imply it. Sending, I don't know if you remember, when Fisherman's around, he's spicy. So it's kind of the default. So my buddy Jared used to tell us stories. Some of you guys have met Jared. He's come and talked about data analytics a bunch and stuff. And Jared used to always start his story. So, hey, I was drunk. And me and my friends, we would just be like, listen, Jared. We're just going to assume you were drunk in the story. You go ahead and tell us if you weren't drunk in a story. How's that? Because it was just, there was so much, he was always drunk in his story. I mean, the whole time, I remember the whole time I was in the Army, Jared was drunk pretty much. Anytime I'd come home, he'd be drinking. I'd be drinking too, but that was, you know, for whatever. But yeah, Sending, his bot definitely gives the old admin, the old Unix admin vibes for sure. Okay, so that's the kind of stuff we got going on. We've got more monitoring to build out, because what I'd like to do is we have this, right? This is a decent little board for kind of what's going on in the lab. But I kind of want to get one of these boards and then fix this for kind of like a usage. And then we'll just have like a usage graph for how often people are using the different servers. Some of you guys that have been paying attention know that we have 5 servers for the automation course, 5 servers for the security course, and 5 servers for the admin course currently. we can spin up more as much as we need. It's super easy to do. That's one of the nice things about Werewolf. I can just stand up 10 more servers. If we had like a run of people that really want to do the automation course, I could stand up more servers. Speaking of that, I do need to build more servers out. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I need to build the target servers that the people that log into the auto servers are going to hit automatically. In that, let me show you guys. What do I mean by that? So if I'm on, where's Jumpo 2? Let's go to our self here. Where is, do I not have a connection to myself? Huh. I thought I did. I don't see it anywhere. All right. Okay. So we connect to ourselves, yes. And then we go into ProLUG. And then we need to know our password, which I don't remember the password, so I gotta go find it. Give me a second here real quick. Oh, there he is. Most of you guys are using keys. You can drop keys into the Discord. Drop only your public key, right? Never your private one. And you'll be able to connect. And then you'll see something like this. And when we go to, good gosh. When you go to the automation course, you will get dropped in Auto 1, Auto 2, Auto 3, Auto 4, or Auto 5 based on how much people are using it, right? Now, if that's true, and it is, hold on. Go back over here so you guys can see your chat a little better. There you go. You get dropped into one of these. Some of you guys have noticed that we went to Doom as our banner message of the day. And the Auto 1 server is going to hit, I think I'm going to call them Target 1 and so Target 1-1 and Target 1-2, I think is going to be for Auto 1. Auto 2 is going to get Target 2-1 and Target 2-2, right? And we'll go from there. Yeah, the Doom font is pretty awesome. We picked different fonts for each of them too. So if you guys don't know, we have different fonts for each of the different servers. It's easier to see it here. There's Hammer 1. Here's Auto 1. Here's Rocky 1. So those are the different terminal message of the days that we use right there. We just go find them out on the web and then use them. They're fun. Hold on. Oh. Nice. The wife just went to get us food. Sending, you said, what do I use for my task Kanban board? Yeah, so this is a tool called, so it's called Kanboard, but it's not supported anymore. So run in your own home lab all you want. It's super easy. Look, this is how easy it is to install. You guys are going to laugh when you see how easy this is. So Kanboard, org. Just see if we can find Kanboard. Maybe they are still supporting it. I thought they weren't supporting it. Let's go look. It's translated in a bunch of languages. You can go, here's the repository. You can go look at it right here. Let's see when this thing was last updated. Kanboard. Oh, they've been updated. Okay, so that is considered updated. If you're still updating in the last week, that's okay. This is how easy it is to install Kanboard. What's the IP address that in my environment? 188. Is that? I can't believe that's still called Moodle. Anyways, you set up a web server, you drop Kanboard as a, you download. You just basically could do the git pull right here. That's all it is. And everything else will just work. Now you might have to go set some settings, like if you got a really locked down version of. Oh man, I forgot. Hold on a second. I used to do. Hold on. I forgot that I used to do. Oh, this was the thing me and Pessa were working on a long time ago, and it was taking Terraform and turning it into a graph based on. There's a tool I could show you guys, but if you just needed something at a high level to talk to with like a project manager, this was a way that you could pull in and talk to each of the areas and maybe color code like, hey, these are the initial setup things, and then these are the things that go with it. I don't know. These are the things that change each time that we do an updated version, but these things stay the same, like in a destroy or a create graph in Terraform. Anyways, I didn't work. That's a project from like 4 years ago. I haven't messed with that in a long time. Anyways, the point is that's all it is right there. You just drop it in there, and then you'll have this, and you'll get a default username and login, and then you just go modify it and change it. Yeah, I have stuff in here that like I still haven't done. I actually stopped looking at the other boards because, so hold on, there's other boards that I have. So the original lab cleanup. These were the old things that we used to do in the lab when I first started streaming, and Fisherman used to always make fun of me for not doing them and not fixing them. But these are the things that we had done back 1127 days ago. These were things that I was update AW. Guys, they're on like version like 32 of AWX, like 1.32, and I'm on version like 1.8. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for the raid, Shy Hat. How's it going? What'd you guys do? I appreciate you guys dropping by over here. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I am hanging out. I am the, I guess, founder. I'm one of the many founders of the Professional Linux Users Group, and we're a group of people that try to get people to do Linux professionally. You're struggling with SQL injection? Nice. Shy Hat, have you ever heard my story about SQL injection? I used to run the web application firewall. I used to be the red team lead for AAA, right? That was one of my jobs. And we had this, one of the weird things that happened was the web application firewall fell to my team. We had a application security team, but they didn't want web application firewall, so it fell to my team. So I'm over here doing red team stuff, and I had to control the firewall. Anyways, where I'm going with that is SQL injection. We started getting a bunch of attacks from like one of our known, because guys, by the way, a lot of things that happen that come into your company, they do what's called side channel loading. They attack somebody else and then get to you, right? So we got a bunch of attacks from one of our customers, one of our, not even our customers, but one of our trusted clients, and one of our trusted, I don't even know what they were, if we're being honest here. But what they were doing was they were sending us the names of a bunch of banks for billing. And what the names were like select unit, or select union first credit, whatever, credit union, select first credit union, and national first bank, and national select credit union, and all these names, right? And all the names were triggering SQL because they were like select first union, like all these names of like credit type things and banking institutions also happened to be SQL keywords. So we had to whitelist them for those senders to be able to get them through. So that was kind of a thing that I ran into live with stopping SQL injection, but it was a false positive, right? We had to bypass the controls because the controls were too stringent against the kind of things that we need. And they were dynamic. They were finding these names, but it was like select first credit union, and things like that look like SQL injection to a system that's just looking for SQL key commands, right? Anyways, what we do in the group, we got bash study groups early and late on Saturdays. We have lab maintenance on Sundays, so people can watch me fix the lab and work on stuff. And we do that via like a Kanban board and look at it like it's real project work. That's what I was actually talking about when you guys came in, is like old lab cleanup that I never got around to doing. Another funny one here is my old home projects. There's stuff still that me and the wife have to still do. Some of this stuff has been done. This is the one the wife really wants done. She's actually gotten a bunch of quotes for that one. Those are all things that we did finish. Screens and new light shelves in the game room. Yeah, anyways, all right. Enough of the reminiscing. We're actually doing, oh, here's the Linux admin courses when I was building all the Linux stuff. There we go. All right. Anyways, that's what we were doing. Was we were just talking about the group, and there are upcoming courses that are free down in the Discord. The security engineering course is going into round 2, and the 16-week automation course is coming up for the first time. These books are also free. They're out there on the web. You can download them if you guys want. All right. Jump to the present. Somebody was putting a message in there. That was tonight, wasn't it? Look at that. All right. So, the other stuff that we were doing, if I look around here. Oh, Trevor, you did add all that stuff? Nice, nice, nice. Sorry, I didn't even look over there on the YouTube side. Just needs redeployment. Okay. We could do the redeployment. I mean, I could do the redeployment now of the web page if we wanted to. It's super easy to do. But Shy Hat, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you dropping everybody off. I don't expect anybody to find their favorite streamer here, but you know, you guys are always welcome to hang out when Shy Hat's not around for sure, or you know, whenever. But I'm just saying, you're definitely welcome here to hang out. We're not working on anything. Like I don't have anything specific that I'm doing right now, though. In the big scheme of things, I'm just kind of playing around in the lab. I was showing that stuff to Sending Grounds because he had asked about it. Here's some template stuff. Hey, how's it going, wifey? I actually have a little bit more of a drink if you just want to give me my sandwiches. You do like this shirt? Nice. I'm streaming too a little bit. But the wife brought me a couple of chicken sandwiches. Oh, the guys wanted to see my cool bow stabs. So I was just dropping them over here, guys, as I got done talking about them. I was just dropping them against this beanbag I have. So the wife was like, what happened over here? There's just a bunch of fucking bow stabs on the ground. Yeah, I'm cool because I know how to use a bow staff. Come on. What were we doing? Oh, nice. Thank you. And that one. Thank you. All right, guys. We're going to have to raid somewhere where I'm not going to eat on stream. Last time I tried to eat something on stream, I think it almost killed me. I was like coughing and hacking. Everybody was making fun of me. So let's find somebody to raid on the Twitch side. I know it's bad form to oh, we'll go over to a security one. We'll go over to Hack Blaze Bits. He's doing Hack the Planet. No, his says stream ending too. Oh god, we can't go over there. Oh geez, what are we doing? Guys, we gotta do something. Let's go to... We'll go to somebody else who's live. We'll go over to Running Man. Running Man is doing Dead by Daylight, which he's a little more loud and less technology focused, but still kind of fun. Everyone is streaming and no one... Alright. We'll go right over there. I appreciate you guys coming. I will see some of you later on this week. We will be very focused this weekend and getting a lot of stuff done, and I will see you guys then. Take care.